Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. This is United Daily Live, the place where we come for all the latest Manchester United news, headlines, transfer rumours, and today, match day build-up as we look ahead to that Europa League quarter-final against Copenhagen out there in Cologne. Manchester United take on the Danish side for a spot in the semi-finals of the Europa League. Now, usually, these are two-legged games. Away goals and all that come into play. You obviously be going to Denmark, playing one game at Old Trafford, but now due to the coronavirus, due to there being no fans, due to the way UEFA have restructured these tournaments, it's one-legged tie in Germany for the place in that semi-final, where the rest of the campaign in the Europa League and Champions League and all that are taking place. And of course, you look at United in that bubble, because all these teams now in Germany are in that Europa League bubble, so they're not allowed to leave hotels without UEFA clearance and all those kind of things. It's all boxed off. And in that bubble today, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had his press conference. Him and Brandon Williams were sat there answering the questions from the press, and we'll be giving you some quotes from that press conference, reacting to the press conference. Also looking at the latest news in regards to Jadon Sancho. You can tell it's not big news, as it would have been the title of this video if it was big news. And as we edge closer to that August the 10th deadline, the deadline that's been reportedly put on the transfer by Borussia Dortmund, they fly out to Switzerland for pre-season training camp tomorrow, and they are expecting Jadon Sancho on that flight. He was pictured in London yesterday, obviously, maybe, probably back in Germany now, and expected on that flight to Switzerland tomorrow. So we'll be looking at that as well. We'll be looking at the reasons why Diogo Dalot has trained alone over there in the Europa League bubble. Again, I'm going to keep using that word. And of course, Phil Jones isn't even in the bubble. He's being kept in Manchester as he continues his recovery from a knee injury. Now, United were scheduled to have him in for an operation, but it looks like that has been put on hold in favour of some rehabilitation and training at Carrington. So he won't be having an operation now. What that means, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not too sure, but we'll look at that news in regards to Phil Jones as well, and look ahead to that game in the Europa League. And if anything else pops off, we'll have it here first on AdamMcKola TV. So make sure you're liking the video, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining if you can. Get your super chats in as well, as we're here to discuss all the latest Manchester United news. Before we get stuck into the quote from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his press conference, we will of course have our On This Day. And on this day, the 9th of August in 1933, it was a Wednesday, Albert Kixel is born in Sheffield. The blonde-haired midfielder went on to develop swiftly as a footballer, debuted for Sheffield Wednesday aged 17 and gained his first England cap 2 years later. When he came to Old Trafford, he cost Manchester United a British transfer record fee of £45,000 and was part of the Red Devils team which lifted the FA Cup in 1963. With his passing and dribbling skills, he was a maker rather than a taker of goals, but still managed to net 56 in 184 games for United. That's a 1 in 3 ratio for someone that's seen as a creator rather than a scorer. That's not a bad ratio at all. Came for a British record transfer fee of £45,000 in September 1958, which was obviously just after the Munich air disaster, and he was one of those players that helped us in our rebuild and obviously helped us towards lifting that FA Cup 5 years later in 1963. So happy birthday to Albert Kixel, his birthday on this day in 1933. 87 years old now. Happy birthday to him. But yeah, let's get stuck into some of these quotes. I can see you guys all in the comments as well. David, Ross, Minnie, John Kennedy, Sport, Gossip, Alien Tenno, Garson Rodriguez, Watson, WKB, Muzi, Stoic Savage is back in the house, Patrick Kamal, Jeevan, Kyle Martinson, Sean Ralph. Can see all of you guys in the house, so thank you very much for joining us. If I haven't read out your comment or one of your questions or your name, I do apologise, but I appreciate you all the same. The team news for that quarter-final against Copenhagen in Germany. United have a large squad to choose from for Monday night's Europa League quarter-final with Copenhagen. Solskjaer has confirmed Phil Jones, Luke Shaw and Axel Tuanzebe were not part of the group that travelled to Germany for the tie at the Stadion Cologne. But young midfielders James Garner and Ethan Galbraith were among those spotted boarding boarding the plane in Manchester. Interestingly enough, no Dylan Levitt. Not sure why that is. He obviously apparently tweeted a trivial tweet when he wasn't in the squad for that last Lynch game. But then it looked like it was a post that was supposed to go through Instagram, which didn't go up with the picture or something like that. But Dylan Levitt isn't in the squad, whether that's an injury or he's not just been fancied by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Does he want to see what Ethan Galbraith's got to offer and give him an opportunity? Because he's probably seen what Dylan Levitt has to offer. That could be a possibility. But Dylan Levitt not in the squad. So the boss has some key decisions to make. First and foremost, Sergio Romero. He has started most of the matches in this competition. But we don't know yet whether it's going to be David De Gea or Sergio Romero in nets for this game. Sergio played against Lask Lynch. Obviously conceded in a 2-1 defeat, but the goal was an absolute worldie from Lask. He didn't have much chance with that one. But we don't know. And Ollie in his press conference said, I think I must be the most privileged manager in the world with the goalkeeping department we have here. Sergio, David, and we've got Dean Henderson to come back as well. That's 3 top goalkeepers. This Europa League this season has shown again how important Sergio has been to us and for me. David has also been performing there. So we'll see what we do for the rest of the season. It's difficult, yeah, of course it is, but it's a nice problem to have. Henderson's obviously not part of the squad despite getting name checked by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole had Brandon Williams next to him in that press conference, maybe suggesting he's going to start. You usually see a player that's going to start in the press conference, although maybe that's just something I read into it. But he could be expected to start. I mean, Luke Shaw's not available for Manchester United. He's been playing left back more often than not when Luke Shaw hasn't been available. I know Wan-Bissaka didn't play in the last game. Brandon Williams played at right back, but you could potentially see Brandon go back in at left back and Aaron Wan-Bissaka coming at right back for this one. So, you know, Luke Shaw's absence obviously there. Harry Maguire probably going to start. Pogba and Martial came off the bench against Lask. Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Matic, Bruno, Rashford and Greenwood weren't involved in that game against Lask. So Ollie obviously has a massive squad to choose from, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of lineup he does select. I did my predicted 11, predicted scores and all that good stuff in the preview which we uploaded to AdamMcKola TV the other day, which you can check out if you haven't yet seen it once we're finished here. We've got a super chat from Dubsy in the comments, and he says, Adam, would be nice for Romero to keep his position for the game. He hasn't done much wrong, and I'm expecting that as well. I know we just went over the quote from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's saying he's got a nice problem to have in terms of selecting a goalkeeper for this game. But I certainly feel that Romero will probably be the one that's selected. He wants to keep everyone on their toes. He wants to keep people guessing. But I think Sergio Romero will be the one that's selected in this game. If we get to a semi-final and a final, who knows what happens. We obviously seen, Romero was used in most of our FA Cup games, and then David De Gea came in for the Chelsea game. You know, maybe you see that again. But De Gea did make mistakes in that semi-final. So does Ole going to show a little bit of faith in Romero? It's one of those positions that's up for grabs tomorrow. I'm sure it's so difficult to be able to predict what kind of team we're going to see tomorrow. Is he going to go with a full strength 11, or are we going to see a few of those fringe players start with a mixture of those first 11 players? Igalo, Mata, Lingard, are any of those guys going to start? Who knows? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his press conference was also talking about United duo Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial. My favourite players, to be totally honest with you, up there with Marcus Rashford as well. And he's been praising the strides they've made since football's return following the COVID-19 lockdown. Before the break, before Pogba's return from injury, he had only made 8 appearances for United this season. Not enough for someone that we want to see in the team most weeks. Obviously that was injury related, but it's great to have him back in the team now. And the World Cup winner has played a part in all 12 United matches since the restart. So since that restart, he's either started or come from the bench in every single game. And Solskjaer is encouraged by the extra effort the midfielder is putting in. He said, I've answered numerous questions on Paul and we're delighted that he's back playing. He's fit and he's enjoying his football. Of course, he's got to make up for last time and he's trying to do that. He's training extra. He's always a great personality in and around the place. And hopefully we can see him lift this trophy like he's done before. He's professional, he's a fantastic boy, and I'm delighted that we've got him in this team. That's Ollie on Paul Pogba. Now, obviously, once Paul Pogba's got himself fit, match fit, and back into the swing of things again, we start to look at Paul Pogba at the age of 27 with his best years ahead of him, already a phenomenal player for United, already done some decent things for us, but I think we can all admit we need him to do more. And he can be someone that the rest look up to, the likes of Greenwood, Martial, Pogba, they look up to him. Even Bruno Fernandes, this is a guy that's won mostly everything in football. Alright, we got to add the Premier League and the Champions League to do that, but we hope to see that added there. La Liga title, Serie A titles, World Cup. The guy's won a lot. He's won the Europa League already at United, the League Cup. So he's won some trophies in the game, but he's also a guy that's at the top of the game as well. And these guys will look up to him, and we need him to deliver with performances. If he delivers with performances, he'll drag a lot of players along with him, and he'll inspire a lot of those players as well. We've seen what kind of figure he was in that French team. We want him to be the same for this Man United team, and I have no doubt that he can do that and be that figure around the team. Lewis McKiernan with the super chat as well says, I know how Howson feels strongly that Brandon is a better fullback than Luke Shaw. I actually disagree, but what's your opinion? Who is better? I think Brandon Williams is better going forward. I think Luke Shaw is currently better defensively. I'd rather see Brandon start because of the fact he's got a higher ceiling in my opinion. But Luke Shaw has done really well, especially after the coronavirus break. I thought he pushed on a little bit, looked a lot better going forward, and he's someone that, the injury came at a really bad time for him, and hopefully that's not going to become a problem. But I think he was pushed on by the threat of Brandon Williams taking his spot as well, and he rose to that challenge. And now we need to see Brandon Williams step up again, because we haven't seen Brandon. We have seen Brandon have a few games where he's maybe not looked that great recently, and we need to see him, get back to that consistency that he had before. Carl Martinson with the super chat. It's a blank super chat, but thank you nonetheless, Kyle, for getting involved and getting your super chat in. We really do appreciate it here on AdamMcKola TV. Get hitting that like button, guys. Get commenting, get sharing, get subscribing, get joining, get super chatting if you can. We are now looking at those quotes about Anthony Martial, my player of the year. 23 goals in this campaign so far, making him the club's leading goal scorer. And the manager is well infused by the fact that our number 9 is now adding more predatory close range finishes to his goal scoring arsenal. Anthony Martial has made huge strides this season in many aspects of his game, said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Of course, I like him scoring between the posts, scoring simple goals, because we know he can score worldies. He's in the gym a lot and working on his fitness and strength, and the coaches have done a fantastic job with him. He's physically at his best in his career. We're looking forward to seeing him improving with more to come. So that's what Ollie is thinking of Anthony Martial, and he is looking a lot more stronger physically. He's always had that stocky build. He's always been quick and agile and all that, but he's always had a little bit of strength to him. But now he's using it properly. He's using it in the right areas. We've seen him pin defenders behind him with his back to goal. We've seen him bring other players into the play, and we've seen him get some scrappy goals as well. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has clearly been working on things with him and Marcus Rashford. And I think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is trying to drill this guy into being just a ruthless goal scorer. We know he's got all the ability in the world. It's about channeling that and getting the goals. And now he's been doing it. He's had 2 months out this season. I have no doubt he'll be closer to 30 goals, potentially on 30 goals for this campaign, if he didn't have those 2 months out, because he showed a level of consistency throughout the campaign. I think just January was when he had a little bit of a dip in form. Apart from that, he's been strong for United. So you look at him, you look at the performances, the improvements in his performances, both before the break and after the break. You've seen an improvement from the start of the season, and then after the coronavirus break, he's gone away, obviously worked hard, been rested up, and you've seen an improvement again. He can push on, and it's kind of like having 3 seasons in one, because you get that break in between, and now we're getting to push on for hopefully another trophy. He's already won the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Europa League at United. Can he add another Europa League to that, and the Charity Shield if you want to count that too? And then obviously that can give these players a little bit of a taste. Alright, next is the Premier League, next is the Champions League, because those are the trophies Man United need to be bringing back into the club. So fingers crossed that will happen. Some of you are saying Christian Folk has tweeted. I've gone onto his verified page. He's tweeted saying, day of decision, this Monday, deadline day, 10th of August. Michael Zorc, head of sports at Borussia Dortmund, wants to comment the future and transfer polka of Man United and Jadon Sancho. I don't know what that means. It sounds very trivial, but we're here, and we are here at the day of the decision apparently. So maybe we'll find out some news today on Jadon Sancho, or tomorrow rather, on whether it's true, on whether he is going to be coming to Manchester United. But I don't get that feeling it's going to happen tomorrow. I do think he's going to come to Manchester United. I do think he's going to join United, but I do think it could maybe drag on for a couple of days, a week more, 2 weeks. Who knows? But I don't think this deadline is going to be something that United are going to be overly looking to maintain to. You know, we're going to get a deal done when the deal's done. I don't think United are going to be fretting about August the 10th. And to me as well, we could possibly see Jadon Sancho be on that plane to Switzerland with Dortmund tomorrow. And if that's the case, don't panic. Don't panic. These things can change very quickly. And I wouldn't get overly concerned by if he is on that plane with Dortmund going to Switzerland for the training camp. I wouldn't be concerned by that at all. Another report from the MEN is Dylan Levitt has received a number of loan offers with a move to the Championship more likely this summer. He isn't ruling out the possibility of a move abroad. That came from the MEN. And we've also heard reports today of James Garner potentially joining Swansea on loan. And now, I remember when we were talking about James Garner potentially going out on loan to a Championship club. And I mentioned Swansea because they play good football, but also because my mate Jan Dander's there. And to see Jan and James Garner link up would be pretty cool. Both very good footballers. But I think Swansea, they have a good side there. They'll be pushing, trying to get there, trying to become, you know, a Premier League team again. And hopefully James Garner can go to a club like that that's fighting at the right end of the table. Isaacus with the Super Chat says maybe they reveal him in the away kit on August the 12th. Is that when the away kit's launched? Possibly. But again, United won't let kit deadlines and these deadlines from Dortmund to affect them really. I really don't think they'll let it affect them. Everyone at Borussia Dortmund expects Jadon Sancho to be on the plane to their pre-season training camp in Switzerland tomorrow. That is the latest on this. But like I said, don't let it affect you. The latest, the only news, the only reliable news we have heard so far is that yes, there might be a deadline from Dortmund. That's a possibility. But Fabrizio Romano says he's not too sure about that and he don't think it affects things. There's an agreement with the player for a contract worth 250 grand a week, 5 years, between Man United and the player's agent. Now United need to agree a fee with Dortmund. Dortmund want 120 million euros. United want to be able to stagger out any payment that they make to Dortmund over a couple of years. So now the two clubs are trying to meet to agree a fee. This is going to take a while. Now, all these reports about a 10th of August deadline, you think if Borussia Dortmund are in negotiations with United for a 120 million euro deal or a 100 million pound deal or whatever it is, that at midnight tonight they're going to say to United, well, this deal's not done now, so we're just going to walk away. That's not going to happen. You're not going to walk away from that kind of money or that kind of deal because of a deadline you've put it on it yourself. It's simply not going to happen. Fabrizio Romano has also reported the club are in regular negotiations with Dortmund in order to get a deal done. So it's a matter of waiting for this to happen, waiting for the deal to happen and being patient, because these things aren't going to happen like that. Now, they've been discussed for a long time. I'm sure United have been in negotiations with Dortmund. Once we got Champions League football, that must have really heated up in terms of United signing him. But it's going to still take time. These are big money deals that are happening. Look at Kai Havertz to Chelsea. Bayer Leverkusen have demanded around 100 million euros. So now Chelsea are trying to structure payment for that. That hasn't happened yet. You don't see the same furore around that. You don't see the same, Chelsea fans, Havertz hasn't signed yet. This is awful. Relax, it's the summer transfer window. Even if Sancho signed right now, you can't play for us till fucking September anyway. So yes, we want to get these deals done, but let's relax. Let's relax. The fee of the player should always be agreed first, not personal terms, says Paul. In an ideal world, yes, but I think you've also got to understand that football is a business and these things will happen. And I'm sure, you know, if Dortmund are in negotiations with United and it looks like a deal is going to happen, they're going to talk. If Dortmund have sold Jadon Sancho, you can leave this summer, we've just got to make sure we get our money, then his agent's going to talk to clubs because, you know, they're going to want that deal to be escalated as quickly as possible once a fee's agreed. So it'd be naive not to expect it to happen. Of course, you know, it's called tapping up really, isn't it? But if Dortmund get 120 million euros, they're not going to care when that fee or contract was agreed. And if they don't get their money, then it doesn't matter whether he's agreed terms or not, because he's not going to be signing a contract with United. So you can see why Dortmund wouldn't be asked by that. Do you worry that Sancho deal drags on? He could be our only signing, says Bailey. We need at least one or two more. But I'm not expecting much, do you know what I mean? I'm not expecting a whole host of anything else beyond Jadon Sancho, so I wouldn't be that heartbroken. I do think we need to strengthen though defensively. I definitely think we need to do that. But you also look at Phil Jones. We'll look at the quotes about Phil Jones from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer today. Let me just dig these out 1 second. Here we go. This is from the Man United website. It says, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has explained why Phil Jones is not part of the squad that travelled to Germany. He says Phil has been following an individualised training programme during the post-lockdown period to optimise recovery from a knee problem. It was a good opportunity as we had sufficient cover in defensive positions for the remaining Premier League games, and he will continue to work with a fitness coach at the Aon training complex while the squad are in Germany. So Phil Jones is getting fit at the Aon training complex. To me, it looks like he's done. Now, them saying he possibly needed an operation, they've opted not to do it. I don't know what that means. Does it mean that he's agreed a deal elsewhere and it's a matter of time? Does it mean that United are going to struggle to sell him? Are we going to just have to, waive any transfer fee and hope someone will pay his wages? I'm not too sure, but it doesn't sound great in terms of getting rid of Phil Jones. It definitely doesn't. As for Jack Grealish, I see David saying any news on Jack Grealish. Nothing at this moment in time. I'll do a quick search of his name on the old Googles. But there's nothing really. The last story 16 hours ago on Express was United identified Jack Grealish transfer alternative. Phil Neville reveals the player Man United need more than Jack Grealish. There's really no real substance to any of the stories that are out there in relation to Jack Grealish at this moment in time. I am fearing that we may not be signing Jack Grealish. That is a possibility, and especially if we spend a whole host of money on Jadon Sancho. But I think once we get that Jadon Sancho deal done, United will then be able to look elsewhere because we'll know how much money we've got left. If United have got 150 million in the bank or 130 million in the bank or whatever, and we're trying to do this deal for Jadon Sancho, but we don't know whether this deal is going to cost us 70 million up front, 80 million up front, 90 million up front. We don't know how much funds we've got left over. Now, if United can agree a deal for 60 million up front, then we've got more of a transfer budget left over, and we could possibly see someone like Jack Grealish come in. But a lot of it depends on that. And Reza asks a similar question, why can't we start with the other transfers? Well, there you go. If we don't know how much of the money is going to be going out of our transfer kitty this summer into that Sancho transfer, how do we know where we're shopping at in terms of our attacking midfielder? Are we going to have to look at one of the cheaper alternatives, or is it going to have to be, are we going to have the funds there for Jack Grealish? Are we going to have to sell a few players first to be able to make that move happen? So you have to look at all those kind of things. And United may be trying to get a few sales sorted. Getting Alexis Sanchez off the books was a massive one for Man United, but we still need to get a few more players off our books ASAP. Delo has trained alone as well at the Europa League training camp, but I'm not worried by that one in terms of it. I've seen a few people tweeting saying Solskjaer's disrespecting Diogo Delo, this, that and the other, and I disagree with that. He's just come back from injury and he's there with the camp. with the team on the training camp. He could have Phil Jonesed him and left him at the Aon training complex, but he's not. He's brought him on the camp. He's flew out there with the team. He's part of the squad. Now he's just got back from an injury, so it may be a case that he can't do all of the workouts that the first team are doing. So he's had to do his own little workout. Maybe tomorrow is the day when he can get involved in everything else. I'm not too sure, but I think it would be bizarre if Oli took him to Germany and then just made him jog around the pitch on his own while the rest of the team train together. I do think that would be an odd one. Brent says Jones has to be sold for free, and Kyle says give Jones away free like Sanchez. Love to get 5 million for Jones, says Ross. I'm sure so would we, but it's not going to happen. We paid, what was it, like 16 million for him at the time. If we can get 10 million back for him, that would be good, but I haven't got any hope of us doing that. He's probably on a contract of around 100k, 120k a week or something. Who's going to pay him those kind of wages? So United will probably have to pay someone to take him. Delo deserves a fair second chance. I do think Delo deserves an opportunity at United, but I do think he's in that weird position of he's not someone that's going to play regularly because you got Wan-Bissaka, and he's someone that has a potential resale value. You know, big teams will be in for him. You hear about Barcelona, Juventus, PSG, and then even in the Premier League, like Everton being after him. Carlo Ancelotti's a decent manager, so you'd look at that and think Delo may fancy a move somewhere where he's going to be first or second choice. You couldn't say he's definitely that. Now I think he should be. I think he should be in and around the first team, but he's had his injury problems, and at some of the times he hasn't been available to be selected. So you have to look at that as well. So it's Copenhagen, Manchester United tomorrow for a place in the last four of the Europa League. We see Inter Milan against Leverkusen as well at the same time. And then the following day we've got Shakhtar Basel and Wolves Sevilla. We will face the winners of Wolves Sevilla if we get through against Copenhagen. It's a tricky game ahead against Copenhagen, but it's one that possibly, I don't say possibly, it's one that we should be winning. Look, if you want to win any European competition and you come up against FC Copenhagen, with all due respect, you should be expecting to be going through. Now they've got someone like Guillermo Varela who's coming up against United with a point to prove. Him and Marcus Rashford were given their debuts by Louis van Gaal, and they could be facing off against each other with Varela at right back. Rashford, if he starts, will start on the left, you'd imagine. So they could be coming head to head in this game, and it's a good chance to see a familiar face in Guillermo Varela, but hopefully he won't be on the winning side, as Manchester United should be beating Copenhagen in this game. You make sure you're heading over to Stretford Paddock for the watch along, fan cams, all that good stuff. We will have on here as well. We will have the reaction after the game too, so make sure you're keeping it locked for that. Throughout the day, if there's any news that pops up on Jadon Sancho or on anything else, I'll go live as well on the channel. There's obviously not going to be a United Daily Live at 10:30 tomorrow because we're going to be posting match day reaction to United sealing a place, fingers crossed, in the semi-final of the Europa League. So there won't be a United Daily Live tomorrow at this time unless United sign someone. But if anything happens during the day, we will be live and we'll have that reaction to the game as well. So make sure you're keeping it locked for that. But for now, guys, I have been AdamMcKola. I am going to get out of here. But before I do go, do me a favour, click that like button, click that subscribe button. And for now, I'm out of here.